legislative branch and how does it affect us as Canadians? Who is in the legislative branch and what are the roles and responsibilities of those people?
There are three main branches in the federal Canadian government: the legislative branch, executive branch, and the judicial branch. Now let's take a closer look at the legislative branch.
The legislative branch is the lawmaking branch in the government. It is also one half of what is called Canada's Parliament. The executive branch is the other half.
The legislative branch makes laws and represents the interests and rights of all people in all regions of Canada. It also provides time to discuss and debate political issues in Canada.
The legislative branch is made up of the Queen, who is represented in Canada by the Governor-General, the House of Commons, and the Senate. Together there are 413 seats in Parliament.
The legislative branch has many roles and responsibilities. They have the responsibility to create and debate bills that affect everyone in Canada. Bills are laws in the making or proposed laws.
Either approve bills or defeat them if they don't think that they are in the best interest of Canadians. They can also provide feedback on proposed bills and suggest changes.
They have to keep in mind that they represent the voters and all other Canadians. They want to ensure that the decisions they make are best for the people in Canada.
Now let's take a closer look at the different parts of the legislative branch. Before we mentioned that the legislative branch is made up of the Queen, Governor-General, the House of Commons, and the Senate. Now let's look at the Queen and the Governor-General.
Queen Elizabeth II is the Queen of England and many other countries. In Canada, she is the head of state, which means she's the highest power, even though she doesn't do a whole lot in Canada.
The Queen lives in England and she can't be in Canada every time a decision needs to be made, so we have David Johnston. David Johnston is the Governor-General, the Queen's official representative in Canada.
The role of the Governor-General in the legislative branch is to give royal assent to bills on behalf of the Queen. This is the final step in the process of a bill becoming a law. The Governor-General has to give royal assent to every bill before it comes to law. Royal assent is approval from the Crown or a representative of the Crown.
Now let's take a look at the House of Commons. The House of Commons, there are 208 seats in the House of Commons. Canadian voters elect some members of Parliament, or MPs, who make up the House of Commons. There is one MP elected for each federal riding. A federal riding is an area of land in Canada. The number of ridings in each province is based on population. The provinces with higher population have more seats than in the House of Commons.
In Alberta, we have 28 MPs. In BC, there's 36, 14 from Manitoba, 10 from New Brunswick, 7 from Newfoundland and Labrador, 1 from the Northwest Territories, 11 from Nova Scotia, 1 from Nunavut, 106 from Ontario, 4 from Prince Edward Island, 75 from Quebec, 14 from Saskatchewan, and 1 from the Yukon.
The party with the most MPs in the House of Commons forms the government. The others form the opposition. Most MPs are not part of a party. They are independent.
At the last federal election in 2011, the Conservative Party won the election, having 161 seats, the most seats in the House of Commons. The New Democratic Party became the official opposition, coming in second with 100 seats. The Liberal Party had 34 seats, the Bloc Québécois had 4 seats, and the Green Party had 1 seat. There were 4 independent people who got seats, and there are currently 4 vacant seats.
For example, our local Edmonton Spruce Grove MP is Rona Ambrose. She's part of the Conservative Party. Her role is to represent the people in our area by sharing our views and ideas in the House of Commons.
Rona and all the other MPs debate, study, and vote on proposed bills. They give the people an indirect role and voice in creating and discussing policies that affect their lives. The MPs are responsible for representing the people in their ridings and creating a peaceful, orderly, good government.
To ensure order in the House of Commons, the MPs elect a speaker on the first day of the session. The current Speaker of the House of Commons is Andrew Scheer.
Every document or paper written in the House of Commons must be in both French and English, the 2 official languages in Canada. Well, that's the House of Commons.
Closer look at the Senate. There are 105 that are part of the Senate. Those people are called senators. The senators are appointed by the Governor-General on the advice of the Prime Minister, and they can stay part of the Senate until they are 75.
Even though we don't elect senators, they ensure that they represent the rights and interests of every province, territory, religion, political perspective, age, gender, and minority group. The Prime Minister usually recommends people that are from the same party as him. Only a few seats become vacant at a time, so the Senate usually includes people from a variety of political parties because different prime ministers over time are from different parties.
When talking about the Senate, Canada is divided into 4 main regions. Each region has the same number of seats to ensure an equal vote. More seats were added as provinces and territories were added.
The first division is the Maritimes Division. They have 24 senators. 10 of them are from New Brunswick, 10 are from Nova Scotia, and 4 from Prince Edward Island.
The second division is the Ontario Division. They have 24 senators.
The third division is the Quebec Division. They have 24
It's
senators.
the Western Division. They have 24 senators, 6 are from British Columbia, 6 are from Alberta, 6 are from Saskatchewan, and 6 are from Manitoba.
Our Alberta senators are Grant Mitchell, Elaine McCoy, Claudette Tardif from the Liberal Party. They were appointed on the advice of Paul Martin, Canada's former Prime Minister. Douglas Black, Betty E. Unger, and Scott Tanis from the Conservative Party are our other Alberta senators. They were all appointed on the advice of Stephen Harper, Canada's Prime Minister.
The role of the Senate is to protect regions, provinces, and minority interests. While considering laws in the lawmaking process, their main role is to provide a second thought and careful consideration on the work done in the House of Commons. They do a second round of study, debate, and voting on proposed laws.
Examine and revise all legislation. The Senate also provides a different perspective that comes from all regions in Canada. The Senate also has the power to reject bills that come from the House of Commons, but this
The
rarely
Senate
happens.
can also propose laws, but they usually just consider the bills that have already passed through the House of Commons. If the Senate does decide to propose their own laws, they can't propose laws that create or spend taxes and tax money.
To ensure order in the Senate, a speaker is appointed by the Governor General on the advice of the Prime Minister. The current speaker is Noel A. Kinsella from the Conservative Party. The speaker doesn't make any final decisions, so it's okay that he is from a party.
Every document or paper written in the Senate must be both in English and French, the two official languages in Canada. Well, that's the Senate.
Now let's take a look at the steps of creating laws and legislation. For a bill to become a law, it must go through the Senate and the House of Commons. They both have a similar process.
There are 6 steps that occur in the House of Commons.
Step 1, introduction and first reading. The bill is introduced.
Second reading. The bill is debated and the detail is studied by a certain committee.
Step 3, committee consideration. The committee analyzes the bill and reports it back to the House of Commons.
Step 4, report stage. The bill, as passed by the committee, is debated in the House.
Step 5, third reading. The bill is debated for a final time. The debate focuses on the final form of the bill.
Step 6, passage and royal assent. If the bill originated in the House of Commons and passed at the third reading stage, it is sent to the Senate. If the bill originated in the Senate, it is presented for royal assent after both chambers have approved. These are the steps in the House of Commons.
There are also 6 steps that occur in the Senate.
Step 1, introduced and first reading. The bill is introduced.
Step 2, second reading. The bill is debated at the second reading, and if it passes, the bill is usually referred to a committee for more detailed studies.
Step 3, committee stage. The committee studies the bill and reports it back to the Senate.
Step 4, report stage. The Senate only considers the bill if the committee has not recommended changes or that they recommend that the bill is not further studied.
Step 5, third reading. The bill is debated a third time. Debate focuses on the final form of bill.
Step 6, passage and royal assent. If the bill originated in the Senate and it is passed, then it is sent to the House of Commons. If the bill originated in the House of Commons, it is presented for royal assent if it is passed through both chambers. Until both houses agree on the contents of the bill, it cannot be presented for royal assent. These are the steps that occur in the Senate.
They both through a very simple process. But one thing's for sure, it isn't easy to create new laws. It takes
The
time.
legislative branch plays a big part in the lives of Canadians. Every day, they and all their levels of government create, alter, and revoke laws that tell us what we can or cannot do. Without the legislative branch, we wouldn't have laws.
Can you imagine what Canada would be like without laws?